Hello viewers, welcome back to another episode of Dad's Garage. Hey, today we're working on an ABS module, and this module came out of a 2001 GMC Jimmy. If you've been watching the channel, you could go back and I actually put a radio in this vehicle, and now we have, the customer calls it emojis, lit up on the dashboard, and what we're seeing is we're seeing an ABS light and a brake light on together. So when that comes on, I am able to go out and tap on the ABS module outside the vehicle, and I can get those lights to flicker. So that tells me that we have a broken connection within the module. And today we're going to unscrew it, cut it open. We're gonna hit the contact points with a soldering iron, and we're gonna glue it back together and get those lights to turn off. This is not something new. This is something that General Motors has had a problem with. And the reason is these modules, they hang upside down on top, and every time you go over a bump, those pieces just break loose on the contact. Really where there's a relay that's on the board breaks loose. So today we're gonna go ahead and get that fixed, and we're gonna bring you along for this episode and show you how we're gonna do it. So stick around and like and subscribe. All right, so here's what we're working on. So this is a Kelsey Haynes module on it. And if you want to go to the junkyard and you want to try to pull one off and look for it, you got to make sure it's compatible with the vehicle. Look for the sticker, the decal that's on here, and make sure it's good. So I've already removed it off the car. They're T20 bolts. This sits on top. So we've got connectors that go in here and here. And I've already looked at the pins. I don't see anything loose here. I don't see any corrosion. The wiring into the connectors looked good. So we're just gonna get in here and we're gonna get this torn apart and just get after what we're doing. So we've got to do two things. We've got to take off these 6 T8 bolts on here, screws, and there's 2 down in this little section here. And we're just gonna go ahead and get those taken out. And this is glued together. The screws must hold it while it's going through the curing process. So that's the only thing I can think of. They didn't want it to come apart. They thought the silicone was going to fail. Lots of questions. You've heard me say on the channel numerous times, I hate wasting parts. You could go buy a new one and just throw this one in a little round can or send it back as a core, but that's not me. I'm going to see if we can fix this before we call it good. Helps to have a screwdriver with a magnetic tip, so you can fish these out of here and get them put back in. So we've got those screws out, and now all we got to do is take a knife and be very careful with this. You don't want to cut yourself. Just get in between the 2 pieces, the plastic and the housing, and I'm just going to cut through the first layer and go around this thing. When you get to where the bolts go in, there is a little dowel pin in there, so you're going to have to pull it out and just go around it. We're just cutting the adhesive that the manufacturer used on here to get this to waterproof it. To me, if they're going to screw it, you'd think they could just do some kind of an O-ring seal or gasket and not have it glued. But of course, you could avoid all this altogether if you would float these boards in an acrylic epoxy, and you wouldn't have to worry about your items shaking, rattling loose. But you know what? I didn't build it. And here we are. So once I've gone around this thing, I might just go around it one more time. So you want to keep your fingers out of the way. I don't want to cut anything off. I've never tried this on any other manufacturer, ABS modules, but I have done it numerous times on General Motors vehicles, especially those that hang under the vehicle. Those seem to have the most problems. So I call it my tint knife, and there's no blade in there. What do? You get a blade and... last blade. Get in here just a little deeper with this little cutter. Take your time doing this. And while you're waiting, you can while you're doing this, make sure you get your soldering iron out, get it warming up. I got this one out so I could get down into this little nook here. There we go. Just gonna try these little nylon body tools. See if I could get in here and get this opened. If not, I'll move to a flat edge screwdriver. Wedge that in there. Now we can do a little more trimming. I'm gonna get a little flat edge screwdriver. I can just work it around. Eventually, as you get all around this, just make sure you're just doing it at the sides, because there's a board in there. You don't want to get too carried away. And there we have it. So what we're after, and I'll try to point these out. Let me just use the screwdriver. So the relay are these right here. This is what the relay is attached to. I'm going to go around to all of these that are the bigger units here, and I'm just going to hit them with my soldering iron, and that should reheat that up and just blend everything back together and make sure we're good to go on here. A lot of people will put flux on here. They'll hit it with more solder. I find that just heating the solder up will help it flow a little bit more. But I can see the relay down in here. So what we're going to do, this one here was loose. Wish I could see better. I need one of those magnifying table lenses. There we go. I'm going to change tips while it's hot with a pair of pliers, because that'll be fun. I'll let this tip heat up. The other tip was just a little small. Yep. I'm just looking at ones that are discolored. That tells me that they're okay. It looks like I've got them all in there. Should do it. Now all we gotta do is just clean up this. I'm just gonna take my knife and just clean up some of this stuff here. Get out some silicone, and we'll just glue it back together. Let me grab some silicone. And I'm just gonna put a little bead around this just to keep the moisture out. You don't need it very thick. It's not a China wall on an intake manifold. Remember, this does have screws. That's all we need. And we'll put the screws back in. I'm just gonna snug them down until I get them all in, then don't need to be very tight, just need enough to clamp it down. When you start seeing silicone squish out the sides, it's plenty. So I knew I had another one somewhere. And that should do it. Last thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get a little bit of dielectric grease, and I'm gonna put in these connectors. They look a little dry. Don't need a whole lot. They do have weather lock boots, so I'm just using some dielectric grease. I used to have some paint brushes for this, but sometimes you just run out of things. And there you have it. We're gonna get this put back on. Okay, viewers, I think we'll just come outside real quick and take you with you before we head out of here to show you. So I just came out. I just put it back on here, got all the wires hooked up to it. We're gonna come inside here and we're gonna see if we got it fixed. So before, the ABS and the brake light were constantly on with this, and let's see if we got it fixed. And there you go. The lights are now off, and we've fixed the problem. Didn't cost us anything but a little time, a little elbow grease, a little silicone, and just a little patience. So again, appreciate you watching, and remember, your projects will never get finished if you never start it. Thanks for coming along with me as we fix this ABS module on this 2001 GMC Jimmy. And have a great night. Don't forget to like and subscribe.